Mitch Moses, what's the latest on his injury and when can you expect him to be back?
Yeah, he just completed full weight session just then. Just spoke to him and, mate, pretty sure that should be right for next week.
Good opinion. How big a boost does that give in the run home to the finals? You've got a pretty tough run against the teams like, the Roosters, Rabbitohs, Manly, Melbourne, etc.
Oh, look, it's important to always have your best players on the field. But we can't look to next week because we've got a pretty big match tomorrow night.
What's the one area you want the halves in particular to deal with without Mitch being there? What's the one thing you want them to work on this week?
Well, I thought the halves were okay actually last week. Kicked well, had a lot of touches and involvement. Gave us good field position. Overall as a group, we had a couple of tries disallowed, and dropped the ball short of the line on 2 occasions. So we've got to make the most of our opportunities. We're playing against teams that we're all fighting for spots, whether they be in the 8 or in the 4 or in the for a top 2 spot. So any of those opportunities that do become available, we need to take them. And it's a similar story against Penrith. We had a couple of opportunities there which we didn't take, and you can't be getting over the line and not scoring those tries.
Yeah, is there any risk for Mitch when he comes back that he could re-injure the injury, or is it pretty much like once the 2 weeks is done, he's fine and there's no risk?
Oh, look, if we say next week we're putting him at risk, we won't play him. But like I said, all the way through, and I'm not the doctor, so I don't know, but we've just been told it's more around if a couple of weeks for it to settle and pain tolerance. Like he's done movements in the gym today, a full weight session that he wasn't able to do 2 or 3 days ago. And then, from after tomorrow, we've got a 7-day turnaround into our next game, which is a Friday night. So we're thinking that should give him enough time to give him 3 full sessions with the team next week.
Beauty.
Brad, playing all these top teams and then run into the finals, is that a good thing? You think it sort of hardens you at the business end of the season?
Yeah, well, look, we've put ourselves in a position where, we're playing with, we have been playing with some confidence. We've been playing with some belief. Now it's time to challenge us on that, So what better way to do it, with all the teams that we're playing against. And, Raiders last week were desperate. Roosters going to be desperate, but no desperate or any more desperate they shouldn't be than us. So, look, it's a tough run, but we've got a tough game tomorrow, and that's our sole focus right now.
I was listening to an interview that Peter Sterling did yesterday, and he said that the footy you're playing at the moment, he thinks it won't trouble the top teams, and that you need to go to another level if you're really going to challenge for the premiership. Do you think that's a fair statement? Yeah,
that's Sterling's opinion. He's entitled to his opinion. Now, we shifted the ball 35 times last weekend compared to Canberra's 11. So, like I said, we created opportunities. We ran for, up near around 2,000 metres. So, had 20-odd offloads. It's about us taking those opportunities, and it's probably been that our situation for majority of the year is we leave too many tries out on the field. We've got to ice those moments, and we've got to take, when we put ourselves in those positions to score, we need to score those tries. Melbourne, they put themselves in a position, they score, they finish everything off. So just our finishing touches to what we're doing at the moment.
Yeah, I remember last year, or it might have been the beginning of this year, Sean Lane came out and said he did struggle with the isolation of lockdown. How is he going up there? Because I guess you want to make sure that at this time of the year in particular, your blokes are in the right headspace.
Yeah, he's fine, mate. Like last week's performance, it was a good game of footy. So we're not looking for excuses other than we had our chances, we didn't take them. The situation we're in right now, it's fine. They're all together. It's probably a better situation this time around for Laney, because he was go to work and go home and not be around anyone. At least here, they're around each other all the time. And after tonight at 6:30, we still haven't got direct news on what the restrictions are going to be. But we're feeling, or we're thinking that, the boys will be able to get to the beach, go and play a game of golf, go and have a feed at a restaurant, have a coffee together. So they're actually living with each other 24/7. So there's no risk of, especially the blokes that don't have families, becoming isolated on their own or lonely or having too much time to themselves. So I think it can only be a good thing for us. and for everyone in the competition.
Brad, what value do you put on the top four? Obviously, we all know the history and that teams don't tend to win from outside the top four. There's always talk about whether momentum or a tough start to the finals is better. What's your take on it all?
Look, we've put ourselves in the position that it's up to us now, isn't it, to finish in the top four. It'd be nice to finish in the top four. Obviously, I don't feel like there'll be any home ground advantage if we stay in Queensland, which is probably likely. You lose that, but I mean you at least get 2 cracks. But yeah, we've got a lot of work to do between now and then, and we can't be really concerned about that, except for that whatever we get out of the rest of whatever we get come final time, it's going to be on the back of what we do now, because everything's in our own hands. We play all those teams, so we control our own fate really.
Mate, just on a different note, I don't think we've spoken to you since the Kangaroos and Kiwis pulled out of the World Cup. Do you have a view on your other guys? Like, you've got a few guys who are available for Samoa and whatnot on going over to still play in the World Cup?
I hadn't given it much thought, and we'll get through this year and we'll see where those guys are at. But the situation's very different to what it normally look like, and depending on. They've got to go into quarantine, in and out, so there's all those things that would need to be considered. And at the end of the day, it's going to be a personal preference. Maybe the guys come the end of the season just want to relax and spend some time with their families.
Yeah, you're better prepared for this time of year than previously, given your experiences consistently being there in the last couple of years?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. And time... gives you experience, and, time gives you combinations with your team. Time gives you your lessons, and we've learned a lot of lessons along the way. And I feel that, even in that game the other night, it was tight. The Penrith game was tight. We didn't lose our way in terms of panic. We didn't ice a couple of moments. But, maybe in the past we've tended to panic and go away from what we wanted to do or what we're trying to do, and I haven't seen that in us. And we've had a couple of tough contests, and we've got a great opportunity over the next 6 weeks, starting tomorrow, to practice that and put it into all that practice into situations where we're going to be faced with pressure every week.
Right, it's pretty rare that your forward pack in particular gets beaten on physicality, and I think you said that's what the Raiders out-muscled you last week. Are you expecting a response and sort of them to send a statement?
Yeah, look, it was disappointing. Our forwards were disappointed. The Raiders come after us, and we didn't shy away from the contest. We just weren't as good as I would have liked.